Hi everybody, it's Stephanie. It's Sunday, August 22nd. So today, I began my day early. I slept till about 8:30. I got up, got cleaned up, had my protein shake and my meds, my prescription meds, my hormones, my thyroid medication, and my beta blockers, and then I said to myself, it's Sunday. I want to start this day right, so let me get a few things finished so I can enjoy the rest of the day. So here I am at the park, and it's 91 degrees. But before I came down here, I got my errands started, and they're almost done. I did my grocery shopping for the week. I cooked some chicken legs earlier. All I gotta do is put some steamed vegetables in the microwave, and I'll have that for supper and also for lunch for the rest of the week. So before I continue, I want to say thank you very much to all my subscribers who have supported my channel for the past 6 or 7 months. And also, if you're a visitor on my channel, I just want to say, if my content resonates with you and you think it's interesting, then please hit the subscribe key. But don't forget to hit that top bell so you get notifications of my future uploads. And we'll begin as soon as we come right back. Thanks. So, anyways, pretty much after dating Tracy, I took I think a year break before I started dating again. I had been dating a lot of different people, between men and women, and finally I said to myself, I'm just going to kick back, go to work, try to go back to the gym, or take up some physical activity like bike riding or power walking or something like that. So anyways, I started bike riding. I was doing very good, maintaining my weight and staying lean and everything. So finally, when I was ready to date again, I went back on Match.com and placed my ad out, and the year 2017, just before Hurricane Irma struck Florida, I made contact with somebody on Match. Yeah. Her name was Tammy. And Tammy was a chef, and we hit it off on Match email right away. Messaging was kind of spontaneous both ways, and just before Hurricane Irma hit, I wished her good luck because it looked like it was going to be a pretty bad hurricane, and people in my community started to evacuate, and we stayed where we were, and we reestablished contact again after the hurricane. So we set a date to meet And me and Tammy decided to meet at a restaurant in St. Pete called Beach Street Seafood. Very, very nice place. It was my second time there eating. It's right near the St. Pete Marina. And we had a great conversation. We sat at the bar, we had appetizers. We seemed to be really hitting it off. It was incredible. I think, as a matter of fact, we sat at the booth. She had short, gray, salt pepper hair, and she couldn't stop smiling. She had a very tight smile, but she had deep blue eyes, which I'm not looking for specific brown eye, blue eye, or whatever. It just so happened that's the color of her eyes. So we hit it off. And then we went for a walk on the marina, and we talked, and we held hands. And then she asked me if I felt like going out for a drink. I said, sure. So anyways, we went to the Vinoy. It's a hotel right on the marina. It's a beautiful hotel, very old, with some history. We went for a little walk around. The whole interior of the place was very beautiful. The entire lower level tunnel of this hotel had some of the most exquisite paintings. It was just awesome. And I love art. I have art lining up my walls in my home. And I appreciated the fact that she liked art. So anyways, we decided right there and then that we were going to try to date, exclusive. After that, we would stay in touch every single day, and we would meet every 3 or 4 days. But when we first initially met, I was so excited. I said, wow, this sounds very promising. You know, she's easy to talk to. She's got an incredible smile. She's slightly taller than me. She's at 5'8", and I was at 5'6.5". And she had a good sense of humor, and she had a loud laugh. You know, she was aware of my transgenderism. It didn't seem to bother her at all, not one bit. And that was a relief, because I usually don't talk about that with anybody on the first meeting. I knew that she knew. I could just feel the vibes, and we instantly just started talking about it. And to her, she just wanted someone who was down to earth, and likewise for me. So anyways, she was a chef, and she was part co-owner of a restaurant in a small town called Dunedin. And she invited me to her restaurant, and she introduced me to her co-owners and some of the chefs that worked there, and some of the girls that were waitresses and everything. So I would go up there a few times a week, and we would have breakfast together, and we would have lunch together. And she always demanded that she prepared our meals, which she did, which I really appreciated. She was good at making dishes and cooking certain things, and I learned a lot from that. It was fun. So I was happy. I was on my way to a new relationship. I had put the past behind me of all the past relationships that went awry. And I said, okay, this is going to be a fresh start. I'm going to take my time and enjoy it and get to know one another. It's very frustrating because you don't know who you're going to meet when you get signed up on dating sites. At first, they seem like they're the perfect person. But as time goes, you start to figure out, damn, why didn't I see this? So just like the other relationships, Tammy would introduce me to some of her friends and her closest friends, and we would do things together with them. But for the most time, she would also drive down to my home and we would spend the time in my city. We would go to the movies, we went out to eat quite a bit. She loved going to the beach. And our intimate life was very, very nice. It was different, but it was very, very nice. She loved being intimate, she loved being close, and loved holding hands. So, what's not to like about that, you know? I was happy, so was she. So one day, we went back to Dunedin where she worked, because Dunedin reminded me a lot of Provincetown in Massachusetts. It had the cutest little shops everywhere. The beach was picturesque. And we were holding hands and we were walking downtown Dunedin. And she walked me to this Irish gift shop. And while there, she proposed to me. She says, "I want you to marry me." And this was already 2 months out. And little did I know, she planned it all out. She had been to that shop before with intention on finding the perfect ring to give me. And I said, why not? You know, she was a hard worker. She owned her little restaurant with her co-owners. She had her own place. She had a nice personality. And I said, why not? So we were in this Irish shop and we're looking at rings and we decided to get friendship rings as our engagement ring. We got the same identical ring, and that day out we both wore our rings for the next 8 months. And we went walking. I can tell she had the biggest smile on her face. I had the biggest smile on my face, and she would share it with her sister that lived in Connecticut. Her sister was married, and she came up from Connecticut, and we would do things with them. Her sister threw a surprise birthday party for her, and we had about 15 people show up, and they introduced me to more of her friends, and it was nice. Everything was going good. So as the relationship progressed, she would tell me how she's not very close to her mom. As a matter of fact, she moved out of her home when she was 17 after her younger sister was adopted. So she found out because her mother never told her. So this had devastated her pretty much all of her life. So anyways, so I learned that Tammy was neglected and mentally abused by her mom when she was very young. So her relationship with her mom just wasn't there. So she told me that I'm probably never going to meet her mother. because they haven't spoken like regular daughter and mother since she was like 17, and it ended horrible because throughout her whole childhood she was abused mentally. However, she was close to her dad, and she would go visit her dad a couple of times since I've known her. And her dad lives in Florida, I believe. So anyways, as the relationship grew, I was getting closer and closer with Tammy. We enjoyed our time together. Like the relationship with Tracy, I'm not trying to compare the two girls. She was very, very intimate, very, very close, very sexual young lady, and very, very pretty. I liked Tammy a lot. And as time would go on, I would learn that because of her childhood experiences, Tammy became an alcoholic throughout the years. She would call me up at home and we would FaceTime, and she would be drunk. And she would talk in a slurred speech. And I would say, "You've been drinking." And she said, "No, I'm not." And you know how a drunk person behaves. And I didn't like that, but I tried to deal with it. So, anyways, it came to be that when me and Tammy would go out, sometimes she would be in a good mood, other times she would be in a bad mood. I had to be careful what I said to her, what I would say to her, because she was very, very sensitive, and she would take things very personally, very quickly. And the thing with her is, if you get into an argument with her about something, she'll never let it go, and she'll always bring it up when you're out with your friends and all that stuff. So I'm not sure what happened, but I think what happened was when we first met, we kind of talked about the future. At the time when I was dating her, and before that, I was working multiple jobs to save money because I had aspirations on building a nice home. And I had been meeting with the builders and the contractors and the architects on my home that I wanted to build. And I shared this information with her, with Tammy. So one day we're at St. Pete, walking downtown. We were having a good time. We went up on the roof of this bar in the marina, which was absolutely beautiful. It had glass railings around the edge of the roof. It had sofas up there and a bar. We had music. It was beautiful. After we were done having a couple of drinks, we went for a walk on the marina. And she said to me, I always wanted to buy a truck, she said to me. I said, that would be nice. She said, maybe when we get married, we can get a truck. I said, but I already have a truck, Tammy. And her expression changed. She had a couple of drinks, but I should have known better that I've kind of like identified her as borderline alcoholic, and we're out having drinks. So when I told her that I already have a truck, why would we want two trucks in a relationship if we move in or if we get married? And her mood just changed. And she said that I don't respect her feelings, only my own. And then it became an argument. And then she went into something that had nothing to do with her. She started talking about my design on the house, which I had already designed before I met her with the builders. And she said that she didn't pick out anything in the house. She didn't pick out the design, the floor plan. She didn't pick out anything, and we're going to get married. I said, well, Tammy, this is something I started before I met you. It's already done. The blueprint is already finished. I can't change it. And me trying to make it sound fair, I said to her, well, you can pick out the decor. And she didn't like that idea. So immediately, now we're not in good terms because she didn't take part in putting together this home that I had done before I met her. So I think one of the biggest kicker about Tammy was her sister was very close to Tracy, and I didn't know. So I told her that I dated Tracy because I saw that her sister, which was in my Facebook, had Tracy on her Facebook, and I told Tammy that I dated Tracy for 6 months. So and then she accused me of still being in love with Tracy. A year later, after me and her broke up, she's telling me this. I said it wasn't true. I told her that Tracy was engaged and she was going to get married in a few months down the road. You know, often when we go out and we're driving somewhere, I would slip up and I would call her Tracy by accident because both their names started with a T, Tammy and Tracy. And because now she's bringing up Tracy a lot, I'm slipping up quite a bit and I'm calling her Tracy, and that would spur on more arguments. So we're driving to my favorite restaurant in Longboat Key, and we went to the Columbia restaurant, and she was just on a roll. She's yelling at the waitresses after we had ordered a salad because she found a small little hair in her salad. And she started saying that she's a chef, that in her restaurant this would never happen. And she's yelling at this guy. But she's not really angry at the guy, this waitress, this waiter. She's angry at me. So she's taking it out on this guy who has nothing to do with anything, who is more than willing to bring her a new plate of salad. It was embarrassing. So she gets up and she says, I'm not eating here, let's go someplace else. Now, mind you, that was a very expensive restaurant, and I knew a lot of the people that worked there because I went there a lot. Sometimes by myself, and sometimes I treated my friends there. So we get up and we went to another restaurant, and we went to go sign in for a seating, and this young girl was taking down the names on a list, and this young girl was just browsing her through her cell phone as she's writing our names on the guest list. And right away, she snapped at the girl and told her how unprofessional she was, and grabbed me by my hand and says, we're not eating here either. And we left. We went from there to Tommy Bahama's restaurant in the same area. And we ordered some seafood and we had some daiquiris. But to me, my day and evening was just ruined. Sometimes the way we're brought up with our family and parents and siblings, the effects of those younger years when we're young, they affect our adult life and those relationships. There were times that me and my mom didn't get along very well. And sometimes I feel this anger coming on that I can't explain. And if you're not careful, you can take it off on your relationship with someone. These are just challenges that are unforeseen. I'll never forget that smile that she had. Out of all the people I've dated and the women I've dated, Tammy had the best smile. And she was the most, she had the best warmth. She really wanted attention and she wanted to be loved. But she just couldn't handle her past. And she didn't know how to integrate it in a new relationship. I don't know what I could have done different. I didn't know how to handle someone that's broken like that. Sometimes I think that's why we got back together so many times, because I thought that I have to put myself in her shoe and see that she came from broken childhood, parents of divorced, neglected mother. Her sister was put up for adoption, and she just recently found her years ago. So that was that. To make a long story short, we dated for 8 months, and each of the first 7 months, we broke up and got back together again. We got to a point where it didn't feel like a relationship anymore. It felt like a ship that was sinking quickly. And then we got back together, and she confided in me that she's been behaving this way because the first night I went to her house and then left to go home, her ex-girlfriend showed up, and her girlfriend was driving around the neighborhood and wondering whose car was parked outside. She wanted to know who had a gray Mercedes parked outside. And Tammy told her that it was mine. So here I am, we're dating, me and Tammy. She's still talking to her ex-girlfriend, and she failed to tell her that she's in a relationship now. So one day I'm at Tammy's house, and there was a knock on the door, and it was her ex-girlfriend. She seemed to be drunk also. And when she dated Tammy, she cheated on Tammy, but I guess she wanted Tammy back. So after I opened the door, I stepped outside and I spoke with her. I said, look, I'm dating her now. I don't know what's going on between the two of you, but you guys should really sort it out. And I went back in and closed the door, and then she left. So deep in my heart, I knew that this relationship wasn't going to work out. Too much drama returned between how her mom treated her and the things going on with her ex-girlfriend, showing up when I was there. So we broke up. It was 6 months later we broke up again. And then I told her I didn't want to see her anymore. I'm breaking off the engagement. That if we could be friends, I thought that it would be best. On the 8th month, I blocked her on my telephone, and I didn't talk to her. And I called her up, and I told her that this is crazy, that we had to break up 7 times like this. Never in my whole life I broke up with anybody 7 times. I said if she could have only put her past behind her, would this relationship work? And knowing her, she doesn't let go of the past very easily. If you say something to her in an argument or a disagreement, she would actually store it in her mind, and she would bring it up weeks later. Not healthy. Would you go out with someone who keeps bringing up the past all the time? How is your relationship supposed to move forward? It doesn't. But I liked her so much that I called her up and I said that I liked her very much and that I was in love with her. And I said, look, why don't we try one more time to see if we can put the past behind us and just move forward. She agreed. It lasted just 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And on the 8th month, she came by my house and she stepped in, sat with me in the living room watching TV. She wasn't very talkative. I can tell that she was holding something in. And finally, in front of my roommate, she says, I want to talk to you in the bedroom. So we walked to my bedroom, closed the door, and she says that I broke up with her 7 times, and there's no way that she was going to do the things I wanted her to do. So, there's something that I told her that I failed to mention was, I said that I'm not really into oral sex. So she felt insulted. I said, we can have sex without the oral sex. And she wasn't gonna go for that. I said, it's just an act. I said, I love kissing you, I love holding your hands, I love the sex toys, and I just love being close with you, and I love kissing you. But I don't think I want to do the oral sex thing. I just felt kind of funny because she dated a lot of people, and she also dated men. She never told me that she never told me of her sex lifestyle with men she dated, but I later found out that one of the co-owners of the restaurant was her boyfriend, and she never told me. I was devastated because she still was in the same business with her ex-boyfriend that she went to work every day with, and he was also an alcoholic. So what would happen later would be devastating to her. She found out that her ex-boyfriend was taking money from the business and not putting it back, and they weren't paying the bills and buying the supplies they needed to run the restaurant with. And the principal owner of the restaurant, they had a meeting, and he decided that he was going to close the restaurant down because they weren't making enough money to run it. Money was being missing, and then later was found out that her ex-boyfriend that she dated, that she never told me, they were in a relationship in the past. Wow, I was so devastated. That month, that's when she came to my house to break up with me because I refused to have oral sex with her. What a freaking drama. I never had so much drama in any relationship like I had with her. It just was unending. So anyways, she wouldn't let go. She broke up with me on the 8th time that we broke up. And yet, she's calling me every single night afterwards to tell me that she regretted it. And to me, that was the final straw. I said, you know, I can't wrap my head around the fact that when I met you, to me, you were the sweetest thing. She was absolutely pretty, just a very beautiful girl. Great sense of humor, but she had skeletons in her closet. She wasn't forthcoming with me. If I'm dating you, and if you own a business together with 2 other people, don't you think it's right for you to tell me that one of your co-owners is your ex? Why would you hold that away from me? How would I feel when I eventually would find out? So, needless to say, after Tammy, I didn't date very much at all. I kept meeting a lot of people that had even bigger problems. But what I was doing was I was learning to spot them early on. So I don't invest my time and my energy in people that have crazy issues that I don't want no part of. So we ended up just being friends. A few months down the road, I found out that she packed up her things with one of her friends and she moved to Michigan. I don't mind that she didn't tell me, but I found out through Facebook. And since we're friends, I'm like, gosh, you could have told me that you moved to Michigan. And she went back on dating sites up in Michigan. And then finally she moved to Connecticut, where she's living with her sister. And she's been dating. I'm happy for her. I hope that she can make peace with her past so she can be happy in her life. So anyway, never a dull moment in my life. I hope that you guys enjoyed this story. And as you can see, the last person I dated was a woman that she just lived a very unhealthy lifestyle. She was extremely overweight. She was a heavy smoker. And that's just more drama there that I couldn't take. She wanted help on her way to a better lifestyle, but she placed a lot of restrictions on people that want to help her. So I don't want to be involved with people anymore that have problems like this. I'm just hoping one day to meet someone that has no baggages, drama-free, so I can have peace in my life. So anyways, As you can see, it's a beautiful day out here. The water is nice. There's a slight breeze. And this is the end of my film. This is my little series. As you guys know, I was married twice. But because those were marriages, and I'm still friends with my exes, and out of my first marriage, we had a son. I'm not going to include that in my channel. These people that I just discussed in my channel, nothing ever came out of the relationship, so I thought it would be a good story to share. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye-bye.